Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life episode 28 for November 8th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I am your very overexposed host all of a sudden. Wow. Is it right here? All of a sudden, I'm on like the face of the sun. Well, welcome to my well-illuminated room today. Luckily for you, I have my good friend Mark Coughlin here to keep me well-grounded and well-informed. Say hi, Mark.
Hello, everybody. And we're going to get Russell some sunglasses to help with his glaring appearance at this point, but we'll have to wait partway into the show.
It is glaring, isn't it?
You've turned awfully bright for some reason.
All of a sudden,
it's like there's a 1,000-watt bulb behind you or something. It's lighting you up.
Let's see. Maybe I can fix it during the next news story. How's that?
But anyways, welcome to the show, and we've got a bunch of news to talk about.
We have all kinds of news, and this first story, I think, is fascinating. So, Mark, why don't you take it away?
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about production hell, which Elon has spoken about many times with the launch of the Model 3. And this article that was posted kind of talks about the downside of what the Model 3 production hell is putting the rest of the company through. So there seems to be, obviously, there's a limited amount of resources that you have in any company. And when you're pushing one particular product or one particular arm of that company, some of the other stuff tends to be left behind because people's attention is on other things. And this is what this story talks about is how with the ruckus the Model 3 is causing internally, that some of the other projects like Autopilot 2.0 and like some other options are kind of falling behind in the priority list. And you know, there's people that are now starting to notice, certainly with Autopilot. It hasn't quite gained parity yet with Autopilot 1. And still a number of people have paid for it and are still waiting for it. So it turns out that with the finite number of engineers that are at Tesla, there's a number of people that are now starting to see other projects slide and miss their timetables, presumably because they're working on other things that it's kind of like a all hands on deck type thing where if there's something really in trouble and it's a high important thing on the list, that people are having to let other things slide away. And it's starting to be noticed, and more people are noticing that these type of deadlines are being missed or pushed back a little further. Another example of that was, of course, the Tesla Semi event. That was pushed. Again, some people had said that wasn't necessarily from the Model 3, but the Puerto Rico thing, where they're saying they want to help build other Powerwalls, and I'm certainly not against doing that. But there's only so many things you can do with so many people, and Tesla is starting to run into some of these walls. And I'm sure that Russell, you've seen this too as we've moved along here on the timetable.
And this is not a problem that's unique to Tesla. Outsiders have thrown the same claim. You can't, at companies like Apple, where they said, well, they pulled engineers off this project to work on this project, and now that project is suffering. Every company has a problem allocating resources to keep every department moving forward, unless you just do one little thing. And, God bless those little companies that just do one little thing at a time. Elon Musk, a little more scattered, dare we suggest, a little more, he's got lots of irons in the fire, as it were. I think the shocking thing about this article, a couple of things. Number one, that the one that we cited here in the notes is from the New Zealand Herald. There was one of the New York Times that was almost the same. Lots of high-profile media people are noticing that Tesla, the one-time media darling, is struggling a little bit. And we're starting to see that kind of talk going public. One of the things here that I didn't know, they were talking about the solar roof, and there was some talk that Tesla was having trouble getting batteries for the power walls, and the solar roof tiles still are kind of maybe, I don't know, but according to this article, solar installation sales have dropped 42% this year, or this quarter, year over year. For SolarCity. And this is coming up on, I think, the anniversary. The merger will be complete the middle of next month. It will no longer be SolarCity. It'll be Tesla Home Energy. That's a horrifying number.
Yeah.
Is that because Tesla isn't shipping things? I don't know. Is it because the market's more mature, or somebody else is getting them on price? I don't know.
Or is it because they're focusing not as much?
Right. And that's the hard part, to know. The autopilot thing, that's horrifying. I cannot imagine being a Tesla owner who bought Autopilot 2.0 vehicle hardware and has what seems to be the general consensus is that Autopilot, the last version of Autopilot 1, was vastly superior.
That certainly is a number of people's opinion based on having the ability to, they've used both.
Right.
But, give credit some dues, the Tesla, some due to that they have been rolling on features, but it's just not matching the timetable that they laid out ahead of time. It's not what they were selling clients when they were signing up for the S or the X. They were telling them, here's the monthly drops that are going to happen. These are the milestones we're going to reach. And that has not happened.
Yeah. And that's horrifying. I mean, that's horrifying for Tesla as a company. And I feel bad for all the people who've spent tens of thousands of dollars buying these products under the.
Right. Like they were expecting to get those things and it didn't happen. So what do? They're just kind of hanging there waiting for those products, those pieces to come back to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other things, do I care about?
And I'm not sure if Russell has frozen or not.
I don't know. I don't feel like I've frozen.
Okay, you're back.
So I don't know where we left off, but I just said I don't really care so much about the Tesla network. That'll happen when it happens, whatever. The Tesla Semi thing could be huge, but right now I feel like it's an albatross around their neck.
Yeah, it's like an extra weight, isn't it? Exactly, yeah.
Like, I mean, like it's going to be cool and it could be revolutionary, but.
And that's maybe why these things are happening is that they've kind of circled the wagons and said, hey, listen, we got to get this Model 3 out and running smoothly at all costs. This we have spent the most on this. Most of our not only money but our reputation is riding on this. So this is the one we have to circle the wagons and make sure it happens as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and there it is. You know what I mean? They certainly bumped this back, and I don't think it's because of slow development or they don't know where they're going on the Semi. I think it's because they've been focusing on other things.
Yeah.
And there was some story, and I don't know, maybe it was Elon, but saying like, I slept on the roof of the Gigafactory or something.
He was roasting marshmallows with the other execs, saying it took too much time to travel back to Sparks to get a hotel room. They're just going to stay there and work the night. And save the half-hour drive time back and forth, and it's great PR. It's it's like, can you? Although there were stories about this when Elon was having trouble with the Model X, there were stories about this when Elon was having not matching deadlines for the Model S. So this is nothing new. This is what Elon does, and he does it well.
And I would say that it's a danger sign that Elon needs to get people beneath him that he can delegate this stuff to, so he doesn't have to sleep on the roof and roast marshmallows.
You know what? I think Elon, though, is the type of person that he has to be involved with it regardless. I don't think he's got a personality that could let it go.
Well,
and I think that it's part of his makeup. I think after watching him now for a number of years, I believe that he has to be a part of it. And if there's an issue that he believes he can help with, he's going to be there.
It will be interesting to see if that management model is successful for Tesla, or if it has been holding Tesla back.
Yeah.
Anything else on this, Mark? I don't want to.
I think we beat it to death.
Let's beat something else to death. Tesla released a new software update with a chill mode.
Of course,
it's a chill mode. And I'm a big chill music fan guy. I get it. And all that. If you've watched What Drives Us, and if you haven't, please do. You've heard me kind of be maybe less than supportive about ludicrous mode and some of the other titling that they do with things. And this is just basically chill, softens the acceleration of Model S and X. Apparently some people were asking for some sort of you could call it training wheels mode or beginner mode.
I like training wheels mode. That's great.
Yeah, training wheels mode, certainly to make it as insulting as possible. I mean, you know what? I've driven vehicles with comfort mode, and it softens the suspension. It eases back on the acceleration curve so that there's nothing jarring or anything like that. And some people love that, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. I think it's cool. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into it other than chill. Yeah, I guess chill, ludicrous. Chill, ludicrous.
Just jerk back and forth between those. Yes.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to drive in a Model S a number of times, with even fortunate enough to have one of the drivers go through insane mode and show me what it was really all about. And I was really shocked with the amount that it would push you back into the seat hard when he pushed into the accelerator. It really was a jolt that you were receiving as it pushed you back. And then just to prove his point a little further, he feathered the accelerator on and off rapidly a few times with his foot. And it was like you were in a box being thrown around, because all of a sudden there's a hard pull and then a slow down, your head would bob forward, and then you would put into the accelerator again, you would push right back again. So it can be jarring used in that way, and someone that's unexperienced, I'm certainly, you could probably maybe kill off a couple of your passengers if you're not careful.
At least give them neck problems. I mean, look, this is the strength of the over-the-air updates that Tesla does. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good thing. I may think a name is silly or something. Look, I'm bright again. What happened? But it doesn't matter. The idea that it's there is cool. There was another thing in this story. I don't know if you saw farther down, but apparently one of the Model S owners asked them if they could implement a feature, and Elon said yes. This was back in August, and they have. It's an easy entry thing that you've seen in a lot of high-end luxury cars. The driver's seat, when you turn the car off, goes back. The steering wheel goes up to make getting in and out of the car easy. Now, apparently, you have this on the Tesla. And you know what? Cheers to them for doing this on an OTA. That's awesome.
Exactly. I think the person that suggested it was indicating that based on the way the wheel is set, that his wheel was starting to wear a little bit. The outer edge of the wheel was starting to wear a little bit, and thought it would be a great idea if the wheel retracted and went up, which, yeah, that's fantastic. And like I said, that's the overwhelming advantage that Tesla has over other manufacturers, is they can put these things in place and push them out over the air, and everyone has them the next day. It's great. That's
a very cool thing. Very cool thing.
Yeah. So I think we'll go into the next topic, which, of course, was about. I'm sorry, Russell?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
It was a story about the Tesla Q3 earnings call that happened a week ago, as of this evening, actually. So just wanted to go over, it's an hour-long, basically, audio that you can listen to. We have a link that you can click on, and if you want to listen to the whole thing, be sure to do so. But just to summarize, the call was done from the Gigafactory, but because, of course, that's where Elon is sleeping these days.
Up on the roof, yeah.
Yep, exactly. He is spending the vast majority of his time, and other executives like J.B. Strauss are spending their time at that factory as well. They opened up the conversation with Tesla's now surpassed 250,000 vehicles that they've delivered of the S and the X, and of course a few sprinkled Model 3s. They also identified the problem that they're having, the bottleneck that they've described, and basically it's part of the battery assembly. Elon described it as there's 4 basic stages. Stages 3 and 4 are fine. 1 is okay, still with some issues, and 2 is in serious, have a serious problem. And they explained, or he explained, that serious issue was caused by the supplier that was in charge of that area, and Tesla did not discover it until much further into the process than they expected. Although Elon did state later, as someone tried to press him on a question about supplier and how they dropped the ball, Elon basically said, listen, I'm the one in charge. If I've picked the wrong supplier, it falls on me. I'm the one that's responsible for all of it. So he went into some detail about how Tesla has now looked at the assembly and looked at the code and different machinery that has been involved to put these packs together. And Tesla has spent many man-hours trying to figure out and write new code to make this process work a lot more smoothly. And they believe that they're well on their way to doing that. And it's basically cost, a month or so that the people aren't getting their vehicles in the scheduled time. But they're onto it. They are working on it. And they believe that they're even going to make the process even better than what was originally I guess planned for. He also touched on the employee firings. And the number actually came out. 2% or 700 people were let go out of the 33,000 that they have. He indicated that, of course, this is just a performance review. Tesla does a yearly performance review. And he also touched on that, Tesla's a small group. They're a small company competing in a large pond with many large companies. And if they are to survive, they have to be more skilled and more nimble than the big guy in order to survive this market. So he's not doing it to be mean or to throw somebody out. He's stating they need the best of the best so that they can be competitive and they can continue to grow in this market, that they are vastly outnumbered by others that are the incumbents that have been in this industry for decades. Deploying. So again, the timetable has been delayed somewhat. He indicated that the Tesla website would update, and people that have reservations would be prompted with what the new times are. A number of people have gone in, of course, over this past week to check, and the consensus is basically everything's been moved back 1 month. They believe that by the end of Q4, so the end of this year, that they will be well into the thousands of Model 3s being produced per week. He explained something about the robot assembly line not leading itself well to human support or supplementing human labor in front of a machine that's maybe having difficulty. As some of you know, Tesla's gone ahead and made the entire line automated. So every part of the process is being pushed forward by a machine. And he likened the issue they have with trying to support an area with human intervention as opposed to fixing the robot or reprogramming it or teaching it to do something a little bit better. He mentioned about having an Excel spreadsheet. You know, in Excel, you can have many cells. You can set up formulas that will automatically create other cells based on the formula that's in there. And it does it automatically as you start to fill in one cell. Many cells can be affected by the automatic formula. And he likened it to, you could have an Excel spreadsheet with many formulas in it, but if one or two of those cells' formulas are not working or not in place, yes, you can get some information out of it, but it hampers the process. It's not all that quick to have a human come in and make a calculation as opposed to having a formula in place. So that kind of makes sense as an analogy. That's what he's saying, that this large amount of robots and automation, they're having those type of issues as they try to roll it out further. Another note, talked a little bit about level 5 automation for autonomy. As we know, current Tesla owners, as well as Model 3 reservation holders, have the ability to buy the fully autonomous package. They've stated that in the example of the Model 3, that all vehicles will roll out of the factory with the proper amount of hardware. So the computers, the cameras, the sensors are all in place, ready to go. He mentioned that there could be some problems with maybe some regulators as to what different states or countries decide that the type of redundancy they require. And depending on what those regulators, you know, set up in a law, they may require maybe a different computer. They may require more computing power than what is presently in the car. So he put everyone's mind at rest to say, if you paid for this and it's in your car, we are definitely will swap it out with a new unit at no additional charge. So he was upfront that may have to happen. He doesn't know. So he's obviously gotten some information from regulators that has put him in a situation where he's not quite sure as to what the level of autonomy is going to be required by state or country regulators. And finally, another interesting note was, of course, we heard a week and a half or so ago about the new factory that's been lined up for China. This factory was pressed on some details about its size. He indicated that it would be a factory that would put out a few 100,000 units per year. And he indicated that those units would be either Model 3s or Model Ys. They will not be X's or S's. Those vehicles will still be shipped from the United States to China. There's no, of course, this being an earnings call, he was asked about capital expenditure for this new plant, and he indicated that there would be no CapEx spent until most likely 2019. So obviously Tesla is burning a lot of cash with the Model 3, getting it all ready. It's now, of course, investors don't want to hear that they're going to be burning the candle at both ends. So he had indicated that it's going to be a couple years away before any capital expenditures will be put together for this new factory in China. And those were the basics. Certainly there is more. You can listen to the audio call if you like. There is a number of different tidbits that, but those are the major points that I picked up on while listening to the call.
And yeah, it was like an hour and 17 minutes. It's a long time. But thanks, Mark, for summarizing that. Thank you for listening to it so that I didn't have to. I've read several transcripts.
It's always nice to get a summary, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Like the Cole's notes. Exactly. Yeah.
Give me the Cliff's Notes version, the important bullet points. Well, speaking of bullet points, your next thing is something we've all been waiting for a little while.
Are you speaking of possibly?
Maybe that's me. I think
possibly your story about the.
Let me bring up a picture. Here we go. Dun dun dun.
There we go. Got their RSVP for Hawthorne, California.
And just for the record, this invitation did not come to me. Okay, this is someone else's invitation. November 16th in Hawthorne, California. Doors open at 7. That means Elon takes the stage at midnight. You have it at 1:30 a.m. Maybe over at 1:37. That sounded a little cynical, didn't it? Sorry.
Just a bit.
Just a bit. Yeah. So, we're all excited. This is the all new electric tractor, an electric semi, however you'd like to refer to it, that Elon's been talking about. I mean, here it is. There's no doubt what it is, what's going on. I mean, in this article, they call it a tease, which, I mean, I don't know how much of a tease it is. Granted, I can't read the serial number on the thing, but I don't know.
Well, we've had that ability to with the paparazzi that we've caught a number of photos of this vehicle and even some video of a mule that we believe is using its technology.
Right. So I mean, honestly, it's almost like I get it. They need an event. They need something to generate a little more publicity for it, which is cool. But let's get to it. I mean, I think, I think the pretense is gone. Let's stop, kidding around and kind of playing around and hinting. We know what you're going to do. Tell us about the details. Tell us when it's going to be there. That'll be the exciting part.
Exactly. And that's just a week and a bit away. So,
yeah, a mere
that is not far away at all. The 16th today. Yeah, it's 8 days away.
Is that 8 days metric or standard? Yeah, in Canada that might be a month.
You never know. You never will with the conversion.
Yeah.
Of course, the rate changes every day. It fluctuates, so you never know.
Is that how that works? I had no idea. Well, speaking of how things work, one of my favorite shows, that whole how do they make things? Mark's next story kind of goes into that in detail. And Mark, I'll run that video for you.
Oh, great. Okay. So what we've got here is a combination of videos released by Tesla that shows the alien dreadnought, as Elon likes to call it. And he's got a few different angles and workstations of the Model 3, presumably at Fremont. Moving through the different stations. So here we've got some spot welding going on as the machines all vying for a spot to put in a spot weld. Like you've got 6 different arms that are moving at any given time into the Model 3 to do some welds. And with that, we move on to the next station where it's entering. It's putting in seats into the front of the car, so you can see a left and right seat being moved in.
Human. Oh, sorry.
And placing them, screwing them down, and moving out. And here we've got another shot of a dashboard going in, which is kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
And you can see the robot at the front, presumably. To grab it, screw it down in place, and of course the glass roof being installed as it whips over top and drops it into place.
Yeah, very carefully, very gently.
Very gently. Glass is expensive.
Okay, so my first comment is, wow, that's slow. And we don't know if it's for the video or if that's, it's not I don't know how much information we can really draw from these videos. You know what I mean?
Well, I think with anything that's new that they're putting in place, there has to be a number of test runs you run it slowly. You want to make sure that everything lines up perfectly. Now, we presume that maybe they've gotten by that stage, but according to these videos, it's a little slow. It is. But Elon has indicated that he believes that the robots will be able to be sped up dramatically as time goes along and they get the processes in place and everything is going as expected. In fact, he's even made the crazy assertion that they're going to have to think about wind resistance with the robot arms because it's moving that quickly. So that was even mentioned in the Q3 earning call. So. And we know Elon. Elon says something, it's not like, well, what about this one gigafactory? Well, I could talk about that, or I could talk about the other 10 that I'm building next week. So right. It's Elon's nature to go above and beyond. We know, but it's going to be interesting to see this large amount of robotics pushing these cars forward. And if they're going to be able to ramp that speed up to go either what they were expecting or beyond it. But this is a complete change from other manufacturing. That the level of automation that's being put into this factory has never been done before. So in an automotive sense. So it'll be very interesting to see how this works for Tesla and if it works according to their plan. Because if it does work as they're expecting it to, I can see all the other manufacturers changing what they're doing.
Oh, sure.
They're going to have to.
But they're sure as hell going to let Tesla try it first.
They're saying you guys can either get all the glory or you can be the dog. It's up to you.
Right. And that's what we'll see. I mean, if Tesla can navigate this and get this production line up and running soon and running to the capacity that they've talked about or not. And, that's.
Yeah, that is certainly the case. That we will be able to see that. Sorry, Russell, talked over you. It'll be just interesting to see that if they can actually do that to their plans. We'll have to see.
There was an interesting thing I read about the Gigafactory, and it was someone from the Gigafactory was talking about how they're so focused on economy and efficiency. They were talking about moving molecules, and that everything was set so that every molecule moved the shortest distance it had to. Yeah. And I get that. The other side of it is you've got a factory the size of a city. So maybe that's a little hyperbolic.
Maybe it is, but certainly you understand the efficiencies.
Sure. And
moving things less takes less effort, less time, less energy.
Absolutely. Less parts, all of that. I mean, we talked about that last week, I think a little bit, talking about the number of parts in Model 3 and what Tesla has done to reduce that. And that's, hugely important.
Yeah.
So, no, I get that. But sometimes, again, just, it's okay. We're all on this planet together. Let's just keep it real, That's probably too much.
Well, for our next story, it's a great segue, is recently Michael B. on Twitter posted his tour of the Gigafactory in Nevada. And apparently Michael had signed an NDA, but for whatever reason, it ran out in a certain amount of time. So I'm not familiar with the NDA these people signed, but Michael was quite happy to post his findings on Twitter and then on YouTube. So we've got the link. You can certainly go and watch the about 12-minute video.
Yeah.
But of course, he doesn't have a lot of the sensitive areas. They've blocked it from him. Like there's a cleaning lady. She got in the picture somehow. But he talks about his introduction to it. There's like a model that he's shown in the Gigafactory, which we've seen at other events. And then he was able to film some areas that people were moving around in the factory. But, he's not getting a lot of things that are not planned for him. Like this battery pack was obviously placed there as a photo opportunity. And he was told about the different types of batteries that are being produced, from the Powerwall to the cars themselves, and of course everything in between. There's the bobbing for batteries bin that we've talked about, where everyone gets a free casing of a Panasonic bat. No, I'm kidding. Nobody gets a free one. But we just thought that would be a great idea, a parting gift as you leave the factory.
Yeah. I have to say, I mean, you know, and I appreciate him posting this, but this is about a minute and a half of video stretched over 12 minutes. Like a minute and a half of interesting video, maybe. So you're not gonna find any. There's not gonna be any
no secrets revealed here, are there? Really?
This is the reason there's not an active NDA on this is because truth is Michael didn't really reveal a lot, and they didn't allow him to, and that's okay. I mean, but
yeah.
It's cool that, hey, you know, thanks to Michael Brown for posting it and posting some pictures and putting this together. That's cool.
And he gives us kind of a, you know, an overall view. People that, you know, were following this obviously quite a bit, and we've gleaned some information from different sources. And this is just another part of that tapestry where you've got another piece that's added and maybe give you some perspective, maybe a 10,000-foot view, so you can understand where the factory is placed or what is to be expected when you walk in the doors.
Absolutely. It's not like a lot of people get to see it. I mean, let's be realistic. This is a big, you know, it's like a big dark operation going on, you know.
It's a big deal, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, but Tesla has
you heard about the governor. Someone in government in Nevada had prompted Tesla and said, you know what, you guys should really set up a regular tour that runs every day, because they're thinking it's an opportunity. It's certainly a tourist attraction, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla set that up.
Well, I mean, I guess once they figure out a way to set it up where it's A, not going to slow production down, and B, not going to reveal anything that they don't want to reveal, why not, right? It gives them a chance to, you know, do a little good for the local area. But, I mean, it is out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
You know, this is a half an hour from Sparks, Nevada, not exactly the metropolitan center of the West itself.
Right, right.
All my love to Sparks, Nevada, and the residents thereof. Great city. Yeah. This factory's out there. So
so it's certainly you know, it would be questionable as to how many would actually line up to see it. Obviously you and I would be there, but well,
oh hell yeah,
we'll have to see if anyone else would want to.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, Gigafactory 1, I guess. That's the same person with the broom. She's busy. I mean, because this is a big place, okay?
That is a lot of sweeping to do in one shift. Let me tell you.
We're gonna. I gotta. There. Wait, there she is. Hey, what's up? I mean, go girl. I guess. I mean, I assume they have more than one person with a push.
Well, we don't know that, but
I hope they do. Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I have to ask, is there a one more thing?
I do have a one more thing, as you suspected. Got this photo today that I'm sharing, and this is a Model 3 that was spotted recently, and the VIN number is 1088. That is the largest photographed VIN number that I have seen to this point. So they are rolling them out. They are pushing these cars out more and more. And you'll notice that the paparazzi that got this shot got on the back of a car carrier. You can see the reflection in the window of the, I guess those would be the ramps that are rolled up. This is obviously on the bottom of the car carrier. But it's, you cannot escape the Tesla people that are just following everything. There's just no way to escape them.
1088, that's a big jump.
That is a big jump. So looking forward to some more numbers maybe next week. And hopefully they keep climbing. I even had someone on our Twitter feed, which happens to be at the Tesla Life, if you'd like to follow us during the week. They questioned and said, yeah, but that's only another 499,000 to go. And it's like, okay, yes, that's the case at this moment, but also keep in mind that a journey of 1,000 miles always starts with one step. So you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to start just moving forward and crunching down those numbers. So I would say to Tesla Nation, don't despair. They are moving in the right direction. We knew there were going to be hiccups. We knew there was going to be trials and tribulations. We'll just see if they can deal with them better than they dealt with the previous ones that have hit them in other models.
Absolutely. This is the big challenge for Tesla.
Yeah, absolutely.
So far, I mean, not that they haven't achieved an enormous amount already. They have.
Yeah, like 250,000 cars in, basically 5 years. Like they went from 2,500 cars to 100 times that in 5 years.
Well, and those of us old enough to remember, how many electric car companies were around when Tesla started making the Roadster, and how many of those same electric car companies are still here?
Exactly.
The answer is Tesla is the only one. All the other ones were ideas that never got off the map, or they got to prototype, or maybe somebody sold a few cars. Tesla's the only one that so far that's been able to get to where they are. So that is a hell of an achievement. Absolutely.
So for those of you out there, again, if you want to follow us during the week, please follow us on our Twitter page at The Tesla Life, as well as our Facebook page, The Tesla Life #1, and on our YouTube channel, where you can catch our back episodes, The Tesla Life Show. And also on YouTube, please subscribe to the notifications, and you will get alerted when this show goes live every week. It'll prompt your phone or whatever email address you type in, and you will be notified when the show goes live, and you won't have to guess or take a look elsewhere to find out when we're going live.
And we won't bug you with anything else. We don't sell it. We're not going to be, not yet at least, although maybe. We don't sell anything, and we're not.
That's for another show.
Yeah, that's for another show. It's just it certainly helps us, and it helps you, because then when there's a new show up. That's it.
Absolutely.
Mark, thanks so much.
Thank you, Russell. That was a pretty successful show. Looks like we're just under 50 minutes. Not bad at all.
Not bad. And I almost said something which, frankly, probably makes for a better show. The less I have to say, maybe the better. There was one comment from last week's show that I didn't know about the Model 3 owners group thing. And I'm like, I'm going to fire myself. It was a pretty nasty comment. Like, let me read it here. I really like your show, but you should be embarrassed that you didn't know the Model 3 owners club site in role. They have been instrumental in building a community of Tesla enthusiasts. And I am embarrassed, of course. Kenneth was a great guest, and it was awesome to have him on. But disclosure, I don't know everything. Part of the pleasure I get from this show is learning stuff and meeting new people and hearing about what they do. So it's okay. Didn't mean to be mean, and I don't think Kenneth was at all bothered by it.
I don't think so. Ken's a good guy.
Cheers to you who cared enough, and I won't mention you by name, to who cared enough to leave that comment, though. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Honestly, even though you were kind of being mean to me. Well, like I can't.
No need to do that. We can all get along. There's no problem.
Yeah, we can all get along. Let's just get along. So, well, Mark, thank you once again. Search the Tesla Life Show on YouTube and subscribe there. All the other places that Mark mentioned. And until next week, tune in and find out what is going on in the Tesla life. See ya.